Welcome in, Slumpbusters. This is your boy Kyle, and we are back with another YouTube quick hitter. You may have heard me talk last week on the Slumpbuster podcast about how the University of Iowa was having their best season in 40 years, but they had the ultimate test in college football of the Purdue game. If Iowa does remain ranked number 3, they beat Penn State and they move on, Iowa faces the scariest thing any top 5 team can face in college football, and that is the Purdue game. Every time someone in the top 5 plays Purdue, Purdue pulls off some stupid upset that ruins their season, ruins their program. So unfortunately, Iowa has to watch out for the Purdue game later on. And then, was this a throwaway line? Yes. Was this a joke about how college football is wacky and random and sometimes Purdue's just going to beat a top 5 team? Yes. But at the same time, you also have the University of Iowa, ranked number 2 in the country, losing to Purdue a week later because college football is sometimes just that simple. You have repeats of things that have happened in the past, and destiny is destined to play itself out. So this was probably the most shocking result of the season because Purdue not only beat Iowa, they dominated Iowa. Iowa only had 15 yards of offense in the second half against Purdue. It was genuinely unbelievable. You found yourself watching this game and Purdue ends up going down the field, scoring a touchdown, and having another touchdown later in the third quarter get called away because one of their receivers basically threw the ball at the goal line or the pylon, and it was ruled a fumble out the back of the end zone because he tried stretching the ball. So Purdue not only slaughtered Iowa, unranked at Iowa, but they also left points on the table in the game. Like, this was the Purdue game at its finest. People may remember a couple of years ago, Ohio State was ranked number 2 in the country. It's known as the Tyler Trent game now because of the amazing Tom Rinaldi story on Tyler Trent, the cancer patient who ended up rallying Purdue to a victory. It made a lot of people cry. If you haven't seen the story, I recommend you looking it up even now. Tyler died about 3 months after the game was played, and they spoiled Ohio State's last season with Urban Meyer. And so Purdue somehow has the most upsets against top 2 ranked teams in college football since 1990, which is unbelievable because Purdue football, outside of 1 year with Drew Brees where they made the Rose Bowl, has kind of been this version of Purdue for 25 years. And the joke about the Purdue game has gone on for decades at this point. It's like, well, sometimes Wisconsin might be playing really well, but eventually they're going to lose the Purdue game. Ohio State might be ranked 2 in the country and undefeated, but eventually they'll lose the Purdue game. Iowa, they're going to be ranked number 2 in the country. Best season since 1985 for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And this is a program that, by the way, has played in multiple Orange Bowls and a Rose Bowl since 1985. This is not a program that, like, we're all surprised when Illinois shows up and plays in the Rose Bowl and we don't know how that happened, or Andy Dalton's TCU team ends up playing in the Rose Bowl. Iowa's been really good for about 20 years under Kirk Ferentz, and before that, they have been a pretty good program, and yet even in their best season across 25 to 40 years, 1985 actually, so that's what, 35 years? 1985, that's when the Back to the Future movie came out, and that was the last time Iowa was ranked in the top 2, and they got pummeled in their first week with legitimate expectations. You heard me on Slumpbuster last week talk about how I thought Iowa was going to beat Penn State, and I couldn't name a single player on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Well, I banked on it, I won, and then they had the ultimate letdown of the Purdue game. I'm just joking around a lot here. Like, if you listen to Take It Easy and you listen to me on the Slumpbuster or DSD or wherever else I do stuff, it's a lot of sarcasm and a lot of jokes. I run a meme page. Sometimes that's going to end up happening. And sometimes it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that just makes for amazing, amazing content that we can share with all of you here on the Slumpbuster. Make sure to check out the Slumpbuster podcast. We dropped another episode this week, and make sure to check out the Caveman Coffee Company. Use that promo code SLUMP for a 15% discount. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe. We are on the way to 2,000 followers, so make sure to do all of that great stuff.